It was 3 in the morning, the kind of hour when silence feels heavier than usual, when the city outside is still alive, but the building itself breathes like it's asleep. The executive elevator at the Manhattan Business Tower had no business stopping on the 25th floor at that time. But there I was, pushing my mop bucket, when I saw her through the tinted glass. Victoria Sterling, the woman whose face was on the cover of Forbes, collapsed face first on a mahogany table that probably cost more than my car. Her face twisted, her arm dangling, and when she reached for the phone, her words spilled out like broken glass. I didn't need a medical degree to know stroke. I'd seen it before, lived it before. My wife Dorothy, God rest her soul, had been a neurology nurse for 20 years, and she drilled that knowledge into me like it was survival training. She always said, "Jamie, the brain doesn't care if you're rich or poor, white or black, it goes down the same way." So I pushed open the boardroom door, the scent of polish and power hitting me, and said, "Ms. Sterling, you're having a stroke. Don't talk, just listen." My voice surprised even me. Calm, steady, like Dorothy was speaking through me. She tried to protest, but nothing came out except a garble that scared her more than it scared me. I dialed 911 with the precision of someone who had done it before, gave them the timeline, the symptoms, everything. When the paramedics stormed in, they looked at me twice, like they couldn't figure out why a janitor knew what half their interns didn't. One of them even whispered, "This guy knows more than most nurses." But when they wheeled her out, stabilized, I just picked up my mop and went back to work. Because that's who I was. 15 years invisible, cleaning up after the powerful. I thought that was the end of it. But the next morning my locker had a slip of paper stuck to it. Formal warning, unauthorized use of the executive elevator. Signed by Wilson Carter, head of security, the kind of man who strutted like his badge was worth more than his soul. I laughed under my breath. Save the boss's life, get punished for it. That's how the world worked when you were on the wrong side of the glass walls. But what gnawed at me wasn't the warning. It was how fast they knew. Confidentiality should have kept that quiet, but somehow Carter had it in his hands before I even clocked in. Someone wasn't just watching Victoria. They were watching me. 2.2 hours later, I saw Dr. Patterson, her personal physician, storm in late, sweat on his brow, face pale. He and Carter locked themselves in a room, voices low but sharp. Dorothy's words came back, sharp as a blade. "The question isn't why now, Jamie. The question is who benefits if this person can't work anymore." And suddenly what I thought was stress and bad luck didn't feel so random. That same afternoon, Victoria herself called me upstairs, thanked me face to face. She looked better, but her eyes, they had questions in them. She asked where I'd learned about strokes, and when I told her about Dorothy, she softened, real human for once, then hit me with it. "In your opinion, James, did what happened to me seem natural?" I tried to dodge, told her to ask her doctor. She cut me off. "He says it was just stress," gave me sedatives. Sedatives? For a stroke. Dorothy would have been screaming in my ear. No real doctor prescribes that. Not unless they're trying to bury symptoms instead of treat them. And when Victoria admitted she'd had headaches, confusion, dizzy spells, things Patterson had brushed off, my blood ran cold. That wasn't incompetence. That was intent. The more I watched, the clearer it got. Patterson sneaking into Carter's office with a brown briefcase. Conversations that leaked out when doors weren't fully shut. Words like keeping the reports clean and 6 months at most. They weren't just neglecting her. They were poisoning her. Slow, deliberate, patient. And then fate dropped Marcus Johnson in my lap, an HVAC tech and ex-soldier with 3 kids and an ear for trouble. He overheard Carter talking stocks, betting on Sterling's downfall like it was a game. That's when it all locked into place. Carter wasn't just security. He was lining up to take the reins when Victoria went down, cashing in millions by moving stock with insider knowledge. Murder and money hand in hand. Marcus still had contacts from the army, men who knew evidence, surveillance, precision. We drew up a plan. He wired Carter and Patterson's offices with cameras so small you could miss them even if you were staring. And in a week we had recordings that could freeze your blood. Carter laughing about headlines. Young CEO dies of executive stress, the perfect smokescreen. Patterson coolly adjusting doses hidden in vitamin bottles. They thought they were geniuses. They thought I was just a dumb janitor who got lucky. They even joked about me. That's the thing about arrogance. It blinds you. They never saw me coming. I played my part like I always had. Silent, invisible, leaving just enough breadcrumbs for Victoria to follow. A typed note on her desk. Check your vitamins. The look on her face when she read it told me she knew. The cracks in Patterson's mask when she asked about testing them confirmed it. While he scrambled, Marcus and I had already dropped the evidence with the FBI, the SEC, and the Tribune. By Friday, I walked into Victoria's office with a briefcase full of truth. Her hands shook as she flipped through documents, listened to recordings, saw the stock patterns matched perfectly with her episodes. She looked at me with a fury so cold it almost scared me, and I thought, now she knows what I've known. Carter was playing God with her life. Saturday morning came like a movie scene. Carter walked into a boardroom expecting another day of control and found Victoria sitting with federal agents at her side. Watching the blood drain from his face as they read him his rights was almost poetic. Patterson got his cuffs the same morning, caught mid-keystroke trying to wipe his tracks. And by Monday, the Tribune screamed the headline across its front page. Janitor hero exposes plot to kill CEO. They plastered my face next to hers, and suddenly the invisible man wasn't so invisible anymore. Victoria, sharp as ever, didn't stop there. She called a press conference, handed me a title, Director of Corporate Safety and Integrity, with a salary I'd never even dreamed of. She told the world competence isn't about diplomas or corner offices. It's about character. And man, for the first time since Dorothy passed, I felt like maybe she'd be proud of me. Because this wasn't just about saving one life. It was about burning down a rotten system. 6 months later, I sat in an office on the 26th floor with my name on the door, Marcus at my side running security, and a scholarship program in Dorothy's honor funding kids who never thought they'd see the inside of a medical school. Meanwhile, Carter rotted in prison. Patterson sold medical supplies door to door, and Sterling Industries became the model for corporate integrity. Irony sweet like that. The janitor they ignored was now the man, making sure no one ever pulled the same trick again. Sometimes I look at Dorothy's photo and think about how close it all came. She used to say medicine saves more than lives, it saves the truth. And that's what this was really about. Truth. Carter thought he could bury it. Patterson thought he could drug it out of existence. But the truth doesn't stay buried when someone refuses to look away. And maybe that's the lesson here. Real intelligence, real power, doesn't come from money or titles. It comes from knowing who you are, standing by it, and acting when everyone else is too scared. Now people ask me, James, how'd you do it? How'd a janitor take down men with money, power, and connections? I tell them what Dorothy told me. Observe, learn, act. The rest takes care of itself. And if you're wondering who was right and who was wrong in this story, maybe ask yourself, what would you have done if you were me? Yeah, that's the real question. So tell me, if justice was in your hands, would you have had the guts to use it?